last week, we spent the hour talking about a lot of good qualities. Love was a big one. Empathy was one. Kindness was one. Patience we talked about for a while. One mistake that a brand new listener might make, listening to that episode, last week's episode, after hearing me talk about all those things, might think, wow, this guy, he's mastered all of these great qualities. Or, boy, this guy, he really thinks that he's got all these qualities mastered. Well, I wanted to tell you that's not the case. I have not mastered all of those really tremendously wonderful qualities. But I will tell you this. I have mastered them to a level that I never in my life thought was possible before I recovered from my emotional disorder, which was borderline personality disorder. There was a time where I thought that no matter how hard I tried, it was all a waste of my time. The reason I thought that was because I had been raised with a father who never improved his bad qualities, such as impatience, anger, selfishness, and abusive behaviors such as tearing a person down, verbally, just so that emotionally you were just spent and hating yourself all the next day and for the whole week and those sorts of things. My father knew those things were not right. And there was a part of him that felt tremendously bad about those things. I mean, he knew that it was not a good way to treat his family. But shame, shame was the overriding thing. It was always shame. The reason why he treated us that way was because of shame. And then after he would get done and he would think about how he had treated us and stuff, I know he was ate up with just more shame. He would come into my bedroom hours later, or maybe even the next day, and he would sit down and he'd say, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about the way I behaved. I'm sorry about all that. I need to do better. And then a week would pass and he would do the same thing all over again. And I watched this play out for 20 years. For 20 years I watched this play out. He never got better. Often he got worse. And so when I turned into an adult and I went out into my adult life, and then suddenly now I'm behaving in these same ways. Of course, I thought back to the only example in my life that I had. I had a person who swore up and down he was going to try harder. He was going to try harder. He needed to do better and never did. So that was what I was working with in my own head. No matter how hard I hate treating people this way, it's only a matter of time. I can only white knuckle it for so long before eventually I will mistreat people again. Well, without going into the whole big thing here this week, the reason why I couldn't get anywhere, why my father couldn't get anywhere, is because it never occurred to either one of us to get back to the fundamental causes of where these things were coming from and trying to understand those and identifying the thinking, the attitudes, the perspectives that were allowing us to behave in those ways. But once I removed those boundaries, those erroneous ways of thinking, that unhealthy, flawed approach, and I removed all those obstacles, then my ability to begin to truly develop these good and healthy qualities started. And now it's been about a decade, more or less, that I've been slowly inching along and developing these qualities, and I'm at a place where, like I said from before, when I had borderline personality disorder, looking ahead and thinking about me not behaving in those ways and not treating people in those ways and being a better person, and just thinking it was impossible. Well, I'm there now. So, although I have not mastered all of those good qualities, I am far beyond a place where I ever thought would be possible. Let's talk a minute about what it would mean if I were masterfully applying all these good qualities and had adopted all these good qualities to their full potential. What would that mean? necessarily it would mean that I would be a perfect person, right? So is it attainable for us ever to develop those qualities in this world to a perfect degree? No. So it's not like once you become emotionally healthy, suddenly you have mastered all good qualities to their full potential. That's not what being healthy is. When you get healthy, the emotional disorder is gone, but you will always be dealing with the human condition.